There she is, the old clunker.
Just a normal route out in the bush, out and back, zone 2. Was going to do a longer route, but then yesterday the run was much harder than it was supposed to be, which was good. Did, 13 minutes threshold went by just like that because running with someone, especially when you're training on your own all the time. So, I picked the wrong gear here to stay in zone 2. Dexa scan today, big day. It's a shame I didn't get it sort of 2.5 weeks ago because I've clearly lost a lot of weight, but still interested to see how much further I got or can go. Just get this ride done, hour and 45, and then refuel. That's the ride done. Just 150 watts, 145 heart rate, big northerly crosswind actually, which was interesting. But yeah, just another one in the bank. New glasses, looking sweet. Off to get the Dexa scan. Apparently you don't need to not eat anything or whatever beforehand, so we'll see how we go. Alright, just went and did the Dexa scan over at Burleigh. Got the good mic because there's a cyclone or a tornado, whatever you call it, coming. The wind is crazy. Hope you can't hear it, but it should be better for the audio. We're going to discuss the results from the scan. I'm going to put it on the screen so you can look through it yourselves. But yeah, it's really interesting actually, mainly because where you think you are, and particularly like when I look at my face and generally how I fit in with particularly Australian society, I'm like, I don't consider myself like a fat person or whatever, but the data says otherwise. So we'll go through it. But yeah, nearly 30, turning 31, 172.5 centimeters. We'll round that up to 173. Small boys, you know how we do it. But that was on the scale. So my actual weight was 74.8. Happy with that because I've lost like 3 kilos since November 21, which is good. Should be 4 in a month, so maybe I'm a little bit behind. Anyway, on to the important stuff, which is the total, the fat mass, lean mass. And as you can see, 22.5 kilos of fat mass versus nearly 50 kilos, 49.5 kilos of lean mass. So that's a fat mass index, and I had to look up that because that's a not new thing for me. Fat mass index of 7.58, which is above the normal acceptable range. So like class 1 obesity starts for a fat mass index at 9, 6 is the end of the normal range, 3 to 6, and like a fit athlete, particularly a cyclist, would want to be more on the 3. And so 7.58 definitely got some fat to lose, and a total body fat percentage of 30.2, which is, I don't know if it's genetic or whatever, but that was a lot higher. I thought it would be like 24 maybe, and then with a bit more training and everything I'd be back down to like 17. So 30.2, I'm obviously like just a small person, and even weighing 75 kilos is way too heavy unless I was carrying more muscles. So 30.2, but that doesn't, I think the fat mass index is supposed to be a better value, so 7.58 down to 6 is closer, and anyway, the visceral fat mass is a little bit high, but then I looked up this study, the fat reference values, and I think like 480 is like the 50th percentile, so that's got to go down like the 65th, 70th percentile for fat mass index. And I also looked up a study of visceral fat mass, and that's also the one that's like contributes to like health issues, so really want to get that one down, but I presume that will happen just from losing general fat mass, hopefully. And I also looked up a study for fat mass index, which basically was conducted on Mexican Americans, I think, and their median height and weight was my height and weight because I'm a short man. So the outcome of that was basically fat mass index is more useful to look at and more indicative of obesity or being overweight than BMI. And so BMI, you see, I'm basically like in a week probably In a week, I'll be in the normal range of BMI. I'm just over the 25, which is the end of the normal range, zero point 0.3 over. But for my height and weight, but the fat mass proportion obviously tells a very different story. So this is why I guess the Dexa scan is so useful, in that it actually shows what's really going on. In that, I could get down to 73 kilos, lose another kilo and a half, or lose a kilo, and I'd be in the normal range. Think, okay, happy days. But then visceral fat mass is way too high, body fat percentage is way too high, and just fat mass overall, yeah, obviously it is way too high. I don't know if lean mass is too low at 50 kilos. But yeah, very, very interesting, I thought. Where I'm holding the fat is my arms is average at 30%, legs is 27%, and then, unsurprisingly, in my torso is 34% or so. And that's more in my abdomen area than my butt and hips, I think. Gyno is lower than average. That makes sense to me because my legs... I've been exercising and using my legs a lot. I don't know if you actually lose fat quicker in the areas in which the body parts you're exercising in more, hiking in particular, or cycling, but to me that makes sense also visually. So otherwise, bone mineral density is good, a little bit high maybe, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you don't want it to be too low. I don't have anything to compare it against because I've not done a DEXA scan before. And I guess, what does this mean? I think it's sort of a good thing in a way. That what would be concerning to me, because I'm not happy, A, with my weight, B, how I'm performing, obviously on the bike because of my weight, C, how I look. What would be really concerning is if this came back at like 15% body fat and they were like, yeah, you can only lose another 4 kilos and you'll be below 10%. And I'm like, well, I feel like I have a lot more than that to lose. So I 22.5 kilos fat mass, that could... I basically got 15 to 17 kilos of fat I can lose, I think, to then still be down to like a 3 fat mass index. And that takes me down to, without losing any muscle... like, that would take me down to 58 kilos, which, to be honest, it is what I think is correct. Now, when I say that to people in real life, like, if I said to someone in real life, I'm going to lose 17 kilos, they'd be like, you're insane. You'll look like you've been in the Vietnam War and then it ended and then you thought it hadn't ended and you hid in the jungle for 25 years eating fish and rodents. But the data says I got too much fat and I'm a small person. And so, do I need to get to 58 kilos to be healthy? No, I obviously don't. But I think, 65 is really where I need to be as a general weight, 65 kilos for my height, if I'm not going to have more muscle mass or lean mass. And that seems about right. So I got 10 kilos to lose. I can't lose 10 kilos in 2 months, obviously, but I do feel like I have an advantage. I do have an advantage because now I'm already riding consistently and effectively in zone 2, a good zone 2, burning 550, 650 calories an hour, maybe 700 in a week or so. And so if I'm able to burn 2,000 calories with moderate intensity exercise like that, that's a big advantage on people who can't do that or aren't accustomed to doing that, because you're just going to be burning so much fat, and then it's so much easier to maintain a deficit. I think I have to, but then I do that in the mornings, but then it's too hot to do anything until then 5 o'clock, where we do a walk for an hour, just burn another 400 calories. I think, especially given the body fat percentage of my torso, I think I have to join a gym. I used to lift a lot, and so I think I have to join a gym and use my upper body in some way. That also has a lot of other benefits, resistance training and for general health, instead of just cycling, lying in bed for 10 hours, eating some carbs, walking, going to sleep. I think going to the gym during the day, especially when it's hot and I can't do anything else, is the way to go and do 5x5. And that also is going to increase caloric burn, hopefully increase lean mass, increase my resting metabolic rate, which 1,443 calories per day. Now, I don't know if basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate is the same. I was very surprised by how low that was, but I guess your resting metabolic rate is a function of your lean mass, and because my lean mass is basically Jonas Vingegaard's lean mass, it's not 1850, so have I been grossly overestimating my metabolic rate? I'm not sure, because I also don't include in my energy tracker incidental movement, which clearly burns a few calories here and there throughout the day, or if basal metabolic rate is something different. I think they're the same. So I'm gonna have to downward adjust my energy tracker by 250. I'm not going to take it down to 1500. I think that's stupid. But I'm going to down adjust it to maybe 1650. I think that's about right. And so I have to be eating a bit less to be maintaining the deficit I want. But yeah, let me know what you think. I think it's really, really useful. I'm going to do another one just before I go back to Europe on the start of February. So that's about 8 weeks away, give or take. And unfortunately, I mean, this would have been a lot worse 2 weeks ago when I was 77.5 kilos. And that would have been, another 3 kilos of fat. So we would have been at 25 kilos of fat mass, which would have been 34% of body fat percentage. So, yeah, it's crazy. Because, if you looked at me normally, people wouldn't say, it's an obese person. Maybe a little chubby, yeah, for sure. But, it's a bit of a wake-up call, but also there's no emotion attached to it. Just gotta crack on. Good to have a baseline, and I guess it makes it easier to have a nice-looking graph in 8 weeks if I actually keep up the good stuff. But the most important thing for what I need to change is, go to the gym for upper body and increasing caloric burn during the day, not being sedentary for so long during the day. Number 2, downward adjusting my resting metabolic rate, even though that wasn't done. Using a VO2 max test, that was just using the Dexa scanner. But yeah, 95 Australian dollars, which is 50 euros, give or take, 52, 53 euros, 55 US dollars to do the Dexa scan. They don't analyze it for you, so I'll have to look up a few things. Obviously, I can read most of it myself anyway. But yeah, they just give you the report. You're in and out. So pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Just booked it, no referral or anything. And let me know what you think. But that's going to be the end of this. Not really a vlog, but this update on that. And I guess I'll keep cracking on. Another big ride tomorrow. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one.